Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
How y'all doing?
Good, good.
Good. Good.
Good.
No
Well, first of all,
complaints.
obviously, no complaint. Oh, that's amazing. Because I have several that I could actually just share with you right now, but I'm glad we'll just follow your lead on
Great.
that one. All right. Well, first of all, I have to thank you so much for giving me your time to be part of this panel for Women Create Worlds. I know everyone's really busy and they have so many things going on. And obviously, as content creators, I like to believe that weekends are your busy time of actually creating content. So,
Great.
thank you so much
Great.
for your time. The title of our chat today is The Influence of Lifestyle. So, when I was thinking about what I really wanted to highlight this year for the summit, was kind of like bringing visibility to areas in creation that are kind of undermined, especially in Zimbabwe, that have some kind of like misunderstood perception. So when it comes to influence, influence as we know it is obviously fed by popular culture, and popularity and celebrity in our country is primarily led by the celebrities themselves. You're either a musician or someone really popular or you're a politician. There usually isn't a very gray area, or there's none at all. Like, it's either black or white, and there really is no range that is very visible. But as someone who's actively always watching you guys, I'm very much aware of the range that's there, and how much influence and how much content is actually being created, that I think people need to be paying attention to. And obviously, a way of creating visibility around that is having a conversation around it and having a conversation with people that actually do the things. So it was a no-brainer when it came to who I'd like to speak to. And full disclosure, this is the first time we're all interacting for everyone watching. And so it should be very interesting and dynamic and fun conversation. But without further ado, I would like the ladies to introduce themselves. Chantelle, would you like to start? Who are you? What do you do?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this. I really do appreciate this opportunity. And I'm Chantelle. I'm a lifestyle blogger, and I also own my own business. And I have an initiative called Love Drive Zimbabwe. And I also work in the advertising industry now.
Awesome. Kumbirai?
And I'm Kumbi. First of all, actually, before I start, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited. Super excited. I'm Kumbirai Nerutendo, but people know me as Tete Humba. And I am currently based in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I'm working for an NGO. However, I also create content on the side. I have my YouTube channel, had a blog, and I'm just all around creative, and I just love creating content. So yeah, that's me.
I just realized I forgot to introduce myself, but thank you guys. My name is Lorraine Charlotte Pagoya, but everyone knows me as Loch or King Lo or Loch Nation, and I am the founder of Women Create Worlds. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. So first off, why did you start creating content? Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
go ahead.
I can tell my story. I'll tell my story. I was in uni. This was around 2013, 14. And because I didn't have a lot of access to funds to fund my lifestyle, I found myself making a lot of stuff by myself. So I started teaching myself how to sew, and I I was a DIYer. That's what I was known as. And everybody would ask me, you know, how did you do it? Can you please teach us, show us? And I started my blog in 2015. So that's where my content creation journey began. When I started blogging, I had a DIY blog, and I only moved to video in 2018. So it took me 3 years to actually start creating content on, you know, video content. But, you know, obviously this all goes with Instagram. When you have a blog, you have an Instagram account, you have your Twitter account, and that's how, you know, I just became Tete Humba, as people know it. And yeah.
Also, I see where the Tete comes from. Everyone would be asking you the how-to.
Why Tete? So the story behind the name, my dad, growing up, my dad always called me Tete, Musha, or he calls me, you know, Simkati. That's how he would call us. If he's not calling me Tete, he's calling me Humba, which is our totem. So in my head, I was like, my dad calls me Tete, or he calls me Humba. Let's put it together, Tete Humba. Oh, there's a ring to it. Okay. So it was just my Twitter. It was my Twitter name in 2012 into 2013. And then that's when I started uni. I came back to Zim, my first holiday, and everyone was like, Tete Humba, yeah, Tete Humba. I was like, wait, what? You guys are calling me that? What?
Yeah.
So because
call that the discontent of branding.
Yeah, you know, when everyone just started calling me that, I was like, okay, let's just go with it. So it actually started off as a Twitter handle only, and then my blog, it just became the brand, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
Chantelle.
For me, it was uni as well. I started in university. I just love fashion and I love myself, basically. That's how I started. I like taking pictures of myself, you know? So, I'm not going to lie. And, you know, I always thought, oh, you're so photogenic and stuff like that. So I don't know if it meant I looked better in my pictures than in real life, but I just ran with it. And people would started asking me, where did you get what you're wearing? How do I style this with that? And stuff like that. And also because I'm a big girl, there wasn't a lot of representation when it comes to having like maybe more plus size people on there. You would have your slimmer, more slender girls, your slim thigs. Those were most of the people that were doing blogging or who were actually on IG creating content. So I got a lot of following because of that. Oh, you're so confident for a big girl. That was usually the line. Or where did you get this stuff? And, you know, so I know. But then I saw that it was also coming from mostly plus size girls. And they were coming from the point of, I'm not confident in myself. And it's shocking actually seeing someone who is. So that's how I started blogging. And yeah, a lot of people were just like, we love your fashion sense. You should run with it. And I ran with it. So that's how my blog started.
All right. So you guys started in uni around 2015. So you've been going for about 5 years?
2017.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how's the journey been so far?
I've been on the brink of quitting, I think. My last episode was last week. My last episode was last week. It's actually quite interesting. You get a lot of highs and a lot of lows. But I also think that the reason that you start is also a reason that will keep you going. If you started it because you have genuine love for what it is you're doing, then you will keep going. Because even if you're mad at the world, you still have that urge to do what it was before you document it, you post it up. So for me, fashion has been that, and I think for Kumbi would be the same. She likes DIY. Even if she's not documenting it, there is definitely a project that's ongoing. Even though we're not seeing it, we'll probably see the end result, and maybe she's not in the mood for vlogging it or filming it, but she's behind the scenes, she's doing something. So I feel like even with the hard times, there will be some, you still feel the urge, you still feel the need to do what you've been doing, regardless of you documenting it or not. But there have been some really great times where you learn a lot, you meet so many different awesome people. Like I've met you, this is my first interaction with you. And these are some of the perks of doing something that you love and, you know, taking it further than just it being a hobby.
Very true.
No, I'm with Chantelle on that. And I think for me, it comes from a place of purpose, right? I'm not just doing it for the sake of doing it. And I think this is going to tie in, with working with brands. For me, it's not at the top of my list. It's not why I'm on the internet. I never was on the internet so that a brand could notice me. I was on the internet so that I could help someone. Because I noticed that people wanted to know how to do this. They wanted to know how they can flourish. And that's always been my motto. Like from the beginning, it's always just been flourish. And that's why I ended up with a business called Flourish. I just want people to flourish, and we need to flourish together. So I think it's purpose. When you see your purpose in what you're doing, you actually find yourself, going for it, even when you feel when you're down and out. And I think the scary thing, I don't know if scary is the right word, but with content creation on the internet, digital content creation, you are looking at numbers. How many people have watched my video? Or how many people liked my picture? How many people commented, And it's easy to get stuck in that. It's easy to start seeking validation in those numbers. And it's easy for you to be demotivated when you post a picture and people don't like it. And you're like, oh, I'm not good enough. I need to do better. It's a real thing. So the journey has been a lot of learning. A lot of learning. Like Chantelle said, you meet great people. But I think for me, to be honest, I've learned a lot about myself, if anything. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up the whole getting stuck in validation and looking at just numbers and likes and losing sense of yourself. Can you share an example or moment where you caught yourself in one of those moments and you're just like,
I go through it every week.
And you're like, hold up, girl. You don't even know these people's names.
I go through it every week. Just the fact that you're making sure that your photo is perfect. You're going to edit it perfectly because you want more people to like it. That whole process. And then when you've posted it, you're checking, okay, so how many people liked this one? Okay, this was a good picture. I mean, I got to a point where I even deleted Instagram altogether. I deleted my Tete Humba account this year because I was getting so stuck in it, and I found myself, it was taking so much of my time because now you have to make sure you have the perfect picture. Instagram has changed. It's not the Instagram we knew even, 5 years ago when I first joined, where you just take a photo with your plant or with your dog, you're like, this is what I'm doing today. No, it's become so curated. You have to have a perfect timeline. So, I know Chantelle has a really nice timeline where it's color coded, so the outfits will have a certain color or there'll be a certain feel. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And when you do all of that work and people don't like your picture, you're just like, but I took all that time. I made the Chantelle, she might even be like, I made this outfit, hey? I went to get the material, I made it, and then I wore it and I styled it, and you guys are not liking it. It's so easy to get stuck in that. So you have to
literally... I'm sure we can all relate.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to remind yourself all the time that, what, I'm not doing it for the likes, or, there's more to it than just the likes. I think that's the biggest thing, to remember that there's more to it than the likes. So, I mean, You asked me, sorry, I'm talking too much.
That's the whole point of this.
I wanted to give you an example. My YouTube channel. This year, I just recently changed the whole feel of my channel. I've moved away from the DIY into living life with intention, into living life with purpose, because that's the season that I'm in right now, and I want to share my journey. The numbers have decreased so much. I don't have as many views as I did. My biggest view, I think the video that's doing really well right now is a hair video. And it's not the videos I'm putting out now. But I'm still I'm not letting the numbers get to me, because I feel like the few people that I'm reaching, or the few people who are watching, I'm actually making a difference and I'm serving my purpose. So it's a constant daily reminder in my head, Kumbi, you're serving your purpose. Don't look at the numbers.
You're pretty much gravitating to the people that are for you as you go through your journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I
Chantelle,
think that, and Chantal, please feel free to add in, because I think that's how, when it came to content creation and then also the influencer culture, a lot of stuff that we saw in the beginning was all about beauty and fashion. And that was the most popular, part of, or genre of of influencing. I mean, and who can blame it, right? It's dope. People, makeup is a big thing, fashion is a big thing, especially among women. And the how-to and learning how to do things was a big attraction to that. As women who've actually now branched out, and Chantal, you speak about your content being about faith and food. And then you have your living with intention. It didn't start out like that, right? It was more fashion orientated and DIY. And in that gravitation, you've seen, numbers change, shift, and there's been that kind of thing. So in terms of your definition of yourself, Chantal, what kind of influencer are you?
That is a loaded question. Well, when I define the type of influence that I am trying to have, I'm usually say I'm a lifestyle influencer who focuses on faith, fashion, food. And those are my three main things that I like to dabble in, simply for the fact that those are things that I'm good at. You know what I mean? I think I can dress, and I know I can.
Yes.
Love to eat and stuff like that. And my faith is a journey which isn't quite as how the textbook Christian would say, oh no, this is how you're supposed to be as a Christian. It's very, very different. And I've realized, because of that difference, I'm able to impact people. So how I influence people is, I realize that I'm not a makeup artist. So that is out. I am not a Bongai Mapo. I am never going to be a Bongai Mapo. I'm not a Meklali. That is not me. So I would rather, yes, exactly. So I would rather leave that lane to people who are actually good at it, rather than congesting something that I'm not good at. But I know people can relate to me when it comes to my lifestyle vlogs or my daily vlogs, just going grocery shopping. And I've realized, how can I use that to get my message across? And that's like in the interactions I'm having with my camera and speaking to people, that's how I get my major message that I want every video to have, is for people to be kind to each other and to empower women. So whatever I'm speaking about, or whatever I'm doing, there is going to be that sense of me inputting that. That's what I want to influence people to do. So the beginning of my video, the end of my video, in between, I will slip that in there. And even though you think people are not catching it, someone will come into my inbox and tell me, oh, you know what, and this really helped me. Or, I was having a fight with my sister, and you told me that you're having a fight with your brother, but you decided that the good Lord is going to be with you, so I made up with my sister, that type of thing. So I feel like, even though we're saying the algorithm favors people who do A, B, C, D, find how you can input that to get your message across. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting your message across. How you're going to do it, that's where your creativity, you just saying you're creative, then get creative with the message. Because I feel like most times we get stuck in, oh, I am a hair blogger and that's what I'm good at. But times are changing. So you need to change with the times. You need to, between making that Loch, you need to be telling people about Jesus if that's how you're going to get their attention. That's what you need to do. So I realized that. And we were speaking about how Instagram just used to be about, you could say, oh, chilling with my cat, good day, and that's it. Now it's not about that. Really, Mom? Sorry, guys. So it's not about that anymore. But what I've loved about the change or the evolution that Instagram has come with is it has given Chantelle Girardi a chance to have a voice. Back in the day, I would not be Vogue material, and Vogue was the only way that creatives were getting their content out there. You could only be in a magazine, on the TV, or on the radio. Now I can just start my podcast, and you guys will hear what I have to say because
Yeah.
I have that. I have that type of technology. So I love the evolution that it's giving everyone a chance. And I'm not a numbers person anymore. I used to be obsessed. I was stuck at 3,000 followers on Instagram for like 2 years, and yo, the Lord is my shepherd. But I moved away from that because I've realized that me impacting or influencing one person means that it has a domino effect. You don't know who that person might go on to be greater than you, and they may impact more people. So for me, my influencing is just be kind to one another, be yourself, love yourself, just rise in your own power, and you don't know who you influence after that. So it's just me trying to create a ripple effect, basically, I guess.
All right.
In
So what I'm learning and what I've gathered from what both of you have said, obviously, is you guys have now got to this place where you can identify your type of influence and your brand. You're now over the numbers game.
Pretty much.
and you're now zoning into well, you've created your lead G, now you're zoning into it, and you're now like creating the content, and obviously if you build it, they will come.
Mhm.
So about lifestyle. So one of the things I know I always struggle with personally is how much to share, how much not to share. Because, there's so many things that, especially when you're talking about, faith and living with intention and journeys, we're all going through one. And with the space that we occupy online, there's always people paying attention and who, to a certain point actually depend and look forward to what you have to say, what you have to share. How have you come to a point of drawing the line? Like, do you have a list of, okay, I'm not going to talk about my boyfriend on the thingy or whatever. I'm not going to have, what are those things where you do question and answer with a buddy? I'm not going to have a me and my boyfriend tag. Or, because essentially that is a part of your life and how you live your life, which is lifestyle, right? Or even if it's faith, like there's some people who are not comfortable talking about faith, but you are, because that's, that is your avenue of influence. How have you got to a point of, did you have, okay, obviously I want to hear the stories and the lessons. What did you once share and you were like, I should have never, ever done that? And though it may have impacted somebody and, probably touched some lives, taught somebody something, but you went to bed thinking, I cannot wait till I can delete this shit.
Mhm.
For me, it was early on when I started blogging. I shared my relationship, and well, that was a
The
mess.
relationship was, huh?
It was a mess. Well, it wasn't really like a negative thing, but it was more of people, once you, I think maybe it's human nature. Once you give people a finger, they want the whole arm, so it takes away from your core message. And for me, it was always show your boyfriend, blog about your boyfriend, blog about this, blog about that. And maybe I was a little bit jealous because he was taking all the shine, and the shine belongs on me. But it was more of I just thought, and I was younger, and I feel like now my relationships are very sacred, and that's not something that I'm going to bring on my public platforms. I last showcased that in 2016, and I'm going to keep it that way. So the lesson wasn't really much of it being a negative one, but it was just you learn that there's some things that you would rather just keep to yourself because you're already giving so much to people. You're opening so much to people. You want something that is normal, that belongs to just you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's definitely boundaries when it comes to that. And I think that's about it. And the other thing was just sharing other people's stories. I won't do that. Even if they give you permission, you don't know how someone is going to feel when they wake up the next day or how the story is going to be said or shared when it's now not in your control anymore. Because you can say, oh,
Once
story
it's
time.
out there, yeah.
Exactly. Story time, my best friend hooked up with my crush, and then it goes on Twitter and it becomes this whole toxic mess, and you don't know how your best friend is going to feel about that anymore. So I think for me it's just sharing personal stories and sharing personal relationships. But yeah, everything else is game.
And for you, Titan?
I don't share. I don't share things. I've
I
been
mean,
so
well, I mean, it had to be personal.
no.
But
To be honest, I just never been someone who shares relationships. I've always been so conscious of it. I think the last relationship I put on social media was my relationship in upper six, and that was that. After him, no one knows what's really going on. No one knows whether Tete is in a relationship, But I think as I've also gone through this journey, I'm also now, I draw the line when it comes to my family. I don't post my family just, all the time. Here's my mom, here's my dad, my brothers, my cousins. I tend to shy away from that, just in a way to just protect them, in case something happens. I don't want people to know that, oh, okay, that's her daughter, that's his sister. So they can share me, but I really try to protect my family, even some of my friends. So you'll find the friends who usually show up are the friends who are also doing the same thing that I'm doing. I can easily have Chantelle on a video. I can easily have Chantelle there because Chantelle does share these things. She's also comfortable with sharing some of this information. However, I have friends who are not too comfortable being online or, everywhere.
yeah.
So I'm now very conscious of that. And I actually do ask for permission when I do certain things just to protect people.
Well, I think that's important. That's an important thing to note, because I think a lot of people, so everything we're talking about obviously leads into perception, the perception of what a content creator or lifestyle influencer actually is or what they do. And this perception that,
Then we're going to need more wine for that.
we're getting deeper, sissy. So, so the perception of what it is. And I always think this is such an interesting conversation to have because I know when I speak to people sometimes, and then when someone, when I ask, because I always ask, like, is it okay if I post you on my Instagram? Mainly because I have a lot of people that follow me, and you may not want, all these people to see you. Exactly. And the vice versa isn't true because for you, it might just be your friends and family, but the perception that I always want to be seen is an interesting one. That every time you take a picture, it should be online because that's what I do. And I'm like, I don't think that's the definition of creating content or being an influencer. Yeah. So I like to hear the most interesting things that you've heard in terms of how people perceive your content creation and the things that you do.
You have money.
Oh, that's a good one.
People always think because you create content, and you know what? I won't lie. A lot of times, before you want to, put your best foot forward. you know, in when it comes to this. So, and I guess that's what social media is like. You know, there's like content creators have so much money. They have, you know, money to go to Queen of Hearts and, you know, show us that they're eating the sushi platter at Queen of Hearts. You know, I don't even have, and it's one of those, no, I don't go to Queen of Hearts every day. I only went this day. And I just happened to show
Let me remind you. And
you
I
know,
just took a dope picture that one time.
you know, I think it's something, to be honest, it's a fair perception because of what we show people. And that's why I always say I want to be conscious of the side of my life that I'm actually showing people. For people to see that, no, it's not always like that, you know. I don't always have my face.
I'm very glad you shared that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's your responsibility to shape that perception.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, it's a discontent. There's nothing we can do about it because everything, like, it's been diluted with the whole perception of you have sheets, you can go out and do all these things, you can buy all these things and blah, 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 when in reality it's not. So the importance of actually sharing that part and not feeling shy, like there's a gap there that just needs to be filled, because the last thing you want
is okay, guys, no, this month we're eating eggs for dinner. It is what it is.
That's what's going on, and we're gonna figure out different ways to make these eggs. Let me tell you, we're gonna get creative with these.
And I think, I guess, you know, social media, there's that little pressure just to show the good. And that's where people are talking about, I guess this is where the mental health chat comes in as well, where people feel like, because I'm not seeing the other side, her life is perfect and mine is not. And I appreciate people who come on social media and actually say, I'm not doing okay. I'm not okay. I'm going through this. My life is not perfect. I'm struggling right now. And if anything, you know, people who come and say, please pray for me. I actually need your prayer. I appreciate them, because they're showing us that, you know, this is what's going on. And
I mean, it's real life at the end of the day.
Real life. It's real life.
Really,
you know?
not all,
so
yeah.
And I appreciate you for that. I'm just gonna say.
Sorry?
I appreciate you for that.
You're
real. When you're not okay, you tell us I'm not okay.
Things are not okay, guys.
Mawan right now. Mawan.
No, it's
bad. I'm really trying.
And you know what? And that came from, a part of it came from the pressure of always having to be on. So for me, in terms of my my avenue and path of influence, has always obviously been dictated by my job. And that happened to be being on radio and television at the time. So that was, you know, a given. And then, like you said, in those aspects, there is a face that you have to show. And before that, social media hadn't really picked up like that, to where people were being very personable. It was just pictures. You know, no one can hear you talking. Well, I mean, people would hear me talk because I was on radio. But, you know, the voices that you were hearing were of, you know, people on TV and online. And that was what people gravitated to. And once I made the move into just trying to figure myself out, I just realized that my mental health had suffered so much, because you belong to people. And that's not really a bad thing, because obviously if you want to make an impact, it's important for you to be relatable, for them to see you and feel you and listen to your message. But then there's the other angle, because people online can be very ugly. And it's, you know, it can be terrible. I'm sure we've all seen terrorism at its best. And so as I was going through my journey of and I'm still going through it, of healing or trying to learn to live with, I needed an outlet to share. and I'm sure you all can relate when there's something that you share that's just so personal, and everyone's coming to you like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. I also do A, B, C, D, or this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And then that's how you can build your community.
And that's influence. That's influence.
Being,
You're helping
exactly.
someone. Yeah.
Right. So then also that shows the different, like the range of what influence is. I mean, it's cool if I can wear one of Chantel's pieces and, you know, maybe 2 or 3 people buy them. Like, that's dope. But I mean, that's influence. That's influence marketing, right? Then there's just, you know, the basic lifestyle influence. If you can be influenced to like do one of your challenges to you know, like, you know, journal every day or do this and that, eat better. That also is a different avenue. And I think that's what I would like to see more people pay attention to and acknowledge as an area that can be taken advantage of, an area that people can actually just, you know, seek to learn from as well. Like the same way you want to learn how to put on your eyelashes, I would like to see you learn how to create a planner, plan your day, how to drink water every day.
How to drink water every day.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was that. Go ahead.
For me, I think if that's what influencing was birthed from people wanting to see everyday people doing extraordinary things at times.
Yeah.
Because we just had celebrities, we had personalities, and then there comes a normal girl next door doing something, and it also makes us feel like, oh, if Chantelle can do it, and I know Chantelle, I went to school with Chantelle, then definitely I can do it. There was that level of relatability that was there. And I think maybe we've moved away from it in the sense that now we curate our content or we curate our lives online to look a certain way. But I feel like that's because nobody wants to be out here moping around and crying about the losses when everyone wants to see their wins. So, but yeah, I definitely do believe that if, like, I was talking, I don't remember who I was talking to, and they were saying the same thing. And I was like, you know what? If you actually look at the people that you enjoy watching, there is a thread in there that's like a similar thread. I know I like Michali. I love Michali. She's one of my favorite people. She does beauty. I do not do any of that eyeshadow that is crazy. But I love Michali for the simple fact that she is herself. She is unapologetic. She is funny, and you know, she is just herself. And I think it's more of a personality than actually what she does. The beauty comes second. Then you realize, like, even in my business, you realize that people who buy from me for the simple fact that they like who I am.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, Chantelle, I actually would not wear a crochet bikini, but because I love you and I love just who you are, I love seeing you running around with your chickens and showing us on YouTube, I want to buy something, make something for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to make crochet. Let's make something else that you're more comfortable wearing. But I think it's also that just that level of relatability that's there. And if you check the people that you love, you see that there is something that you love that's not actually what they do. I know there's a girl called, I don't know if you can check her out on YouTube. Her name is A Girl and the Word. So what she does is more of video calming videos. She will show you when she's cleaning her apartment or when she's feeding her dog or how she just had a whole garden on her balcony. She lives in apartments, but she's got a whole garden on her balcony. And it's like a girl next door type of feel, but she's relatable in the sense that she speaks about her journey of her lows when she was fighting with her mom, when her mom destroyed her apartment and stuff like that. And that's stuff that you can relate to because we all have tips with relatives, we all have tips with friends and stuff like that. She also speaks about her journey when she was doing drugs, but how she's putting it out there is, how can I say, you can consume it, even though it's like really dark stuff. So I feel like influence rose from people wanting something to relate to. You can't relate to Paris Hilton. She's like the first influencer, if I can say, because if she was seen with a Louis bag, everyone wanted a Louis bag. But we couldn't relate because she was born a billionaire. So you have people like Kim Kardashian who not really not well they came from it. So never mind, she's a bad example. Let me find someone else.
Okay, those are aspirational.
Exactly, but
More
then
aspirational, man. That's where you want to go with your life.
yeah.
There's
But
the
then
blueprint.
it was more of seeing someone who is sort of we are almost on the same level. It looks doable. I think that's where
Yeah, for
influence
sure.
came from the sense that Kumbi can do it. Kumbi went to a school literally blocks away from me.
Yeah.
Kumbi um, eats my booty. You know what I mean? So Kumbi is relatable. And if Kumbi can do her own hair, then while she's chowing her maputi, then definitely I can do the same. Or if Kumbi went through this bout of a depressive series and she got out of it, then I have to go into her inbox and ask her how she did it. But I think at the end, at the base of it all, it's just, are you relatable?
I agree. I agree fully. And on the aspect of obviously being relatable, and I want to start talking about the future of your brands. You guys mentioned that you have businesses. I'd like to get deeper into that, ask what that's about. And you, Chantal, you raised a really good point about how, people buy you before they actually buy your product.
Yeah.
And that's a really important part to actually just learn and know. So if you can share, okay, what is your business? Could be flourish.
Oh, no, you can go.
No, Chantal can go. Chantal can tell us.
Okay, go.
Chantal can tell us about Reso.
Yeah. So I have two businesses. One is not actually a business, but yeah. I have Reso Girardi. We do clothing, crochet pieces and fabric pieces. And I also have Love Drive Zimbabwe. And that's more of an initiative. We work with disadvantaged children, child-headed families who have majorly lost their parents due to HIV or cancer. So those are the two things that I'm very passionate about. And I feel myself moving away from content creation more and more because in as much as I love being in front of the camera and speaking to people and just sharing my thoughts, I feel like my purpose is more of just working with children and doing my business. And the way it's all set up, it's crazy. Everything is going to be funded from my business and channeling it towards Love Drive. And that's what I'm working towards. So those are the two things that I'm currently working on. And from Reso Girardi, we have She Means Business Africa, which is registered under Reso, and it works with female entrepreneurs, and not just in business. You can be a housewife, you can have a 9 to 5, but we're just trying to find ways to empower you to have your voice heard and just giving people a platform to speak out about what they do and hopefully them being able to reach other people. So those are, you hear the chicken.
Shout out to the chicken.
But yeah, those are the things that I'm interested in, and I feel like my influencing journey is going to come to an end very, very soon.
Well, I mean, what it sounds like is you're actually going to get deeper into influencing. We just won't be seeing the usual content.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So I'm excited about the future. But yeah, those are the businesses that I do, right? And I owe Reso Girardi all to blogging and content creation. Because from me blogging about fashion and running to my mom, and because my mom is a Zimbabwean fashion designer, running to her and telling her, Mom, I have this sketch, make it today, I want to wear it tomorrow. And I wear it, I post pictures, and people be like, oh, where did you get that? Can I get one too? And I'm like, money, let me take your money. So basically that's how Reso Girardi was born, and I owe it all to blogging actually, because people wanted to know what I'm wearing, who I'm wearing, where can I get it, and that's how research your
Yeah.
agenda. So yeah, influencing has been good to me actually.
Shout out to that. And I think like
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I really just wanted to highlight in the conversation of how, because I also started blogging. That's how I got onto radio and where we are now was me just documenting stuff that I wanted to talk about. And a lot of the time, obviously, you see people doing these huge things, and you're like, "Oh, I want to do that." But sis, I think at the time I had a Nokia phone. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the things were not there. The pictures could not be taken. You know, all my friends had iPhone. Like it was just not going to work out. But again, like you said before, you say you're creative. You better make it happen.
That's the creativity. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get lost. We get lost in what we do not have. I started YouTube on my iPhone 6 and it was the back camera was cracked. So you literally could not see me and you could not hear me. So I had to use the front camera. And it got to a point it was so bad I had to record on Snapchat because my camera was not working at all. So I would go on Snapchat. Thank God they had 1 minute videos. So I would record a minute, save it, record another minute, save it. And people be like, why are your videos so short? And I'm like, you do not know what I'm working with.
Baby.
But the important thing is so many people want perfect conditions. You will never have perfect conditions.
It's just never going to be that way.
Exactly. Start with what you have. What people want is the message that you're putting across. Obviously, we like pretty things. We like things that are packaged nicely. But if your message is real, like there's a girl called Elsa, if I'm not mistaken. She's working with Fenty now. But have you seen her videos? She does not have a mic stand. She literally just goes on selfie mode, lays on her pillow, and she just starts making jokes. And now she's working with Fenty. So start with what you have, and the right people, things will align. Basically, yeah.
Amen.
That's real, man.
Tell me about Flourish.
Flourish doesn't exist anymore.
What?
Okay, no. So here's the story. Flourish was my business that I started in 2018, and I did customized Tommies for weddings and just for casual wear. And then I halted my business in 20. I think I officially put it. I officially halted it this year. Because I then moved to SA in 2019, and because I was trying to figure myself out and to settle down, I just had to focus on me, and I couldn't start trying to, have my business running again here. Flourish was an amazing business. I love it. I still do. I think I'm in a season where right now I'm focusing on my actual job and what I'm learning from my job. Which is in line with what I did in uni as well. So it's just I think it's a seasons thing. I always have business in the back of my head, and I'm always thinking, but I could make money by doing this, and I can do that. And that's just who I am. Yeah. So,
oh my God. Yeah. That's right. Well, I hope something, we move into that, a different season of that.
I think so. I think for me, and I think this is probably one of I'd look at it as a flaw in the sense that I get interested in a lot of things quickly. So I'm the girl who will want to learn how to do something, do it, perfect it, and I'm done. Next.
Oh, that's a word
just to say quickly, I perfected it.
Perfected it. On to the next,
That's definition of
I can relate with that one. I'm the type to I want to know it. I see something and I want to do it, and I need to know how to do it today. Like it needs to happen right now. Like I have an idea, 3:00 in the morning. I'm calling whoever the next person I know can help. I'm like, hey, are you asleep? I haven't.
Let's make it happen.
I'm asleep.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So because of that. Okay.
That's a perfect transition. Speaking of jobs, I remember when I first got started in radio, I was working for a big NGO, very, corporate and, tidy. And there I am on Off the Wall saying the most ridiculous things. You're walking in a grocery store and, someone comes like, I think I saw you on a magazine cover. I'm like, what? Because at the time I fed into the perception of what working in radio broadcasting and being a well-known figure looked like. And I didn't want that to impact, I thought it would negatively impact my job. And I felt that I had to create a balance or literally live two different lives so that I could preserve who I was at my 9-to-5 job and what I did on the weekends, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was harder to run away from because of how public it was at the time. But I remember being very stressed out because as we all know, your 9-to-5 hustle finances your other hustle.
Yeah.
So one of the things, like, I really need to keep this job because we can't chase our dreams and make them happen if we don't do that. Luckily, my director ended up being a fan. He was a fan of my show, and it was dope. And then it was fine. Like, now it was just like, all right, we can now breathe. I don't have to worry about somebody coming to me and saying, hey, didn't I see you doing something? Or just trying to carry that I guess persona of professionalism when really you can be professional in both settings. When really both things are actually work and job and respectable ways to make a life. How have you guys had to deal with managing your creative business and your creative hustle versus your 9-to-5 corporate or non-corporate thing?
I have. When I first moved here, I did not want anyone to say Tete Wumba. No, do not mention Tete Wumba. No. They mustn't know who Tete Wumba is, especially being at work and you have some Zimbabweans. When someone sees someone called Tete Wumba, they're just like, what's this about? And they see a young woman and they're just like, why is she Tete Wumba, So I blocked everyone off my WhatsApp status. I was like, no one should know that I have a YouTube channel. Until someone from work came to me and they were like, I saw you on YouTube. I was like, wait.
What?
How?
That's my twin.
And then obviously as I started to, talk to my workmates, and they would ask me, what do you do on weekends? It's like, oh, I'll be recording videos or I'm editing or, and then they started, I think they didn't see my channel, but they saw my Instagram. And they were like, wow, you have 3,000. Then I had 3,000 followers on my old account. It's like, wow, you have so many followers. Wow, you do your makeup so nice. Your hair. And they started seeing. How come
we don't see you look like that in the office?
And they were like, okay, so I think I'm grateful that I then opened up a little bit about that side of my life, because they then saw that, okay, no, she's good at social media. We need to, put our program on social media. So can you run with that? And now I'm working with our social media pages. I'm doing some of the, editing, the post editing, the video editing for our program. And they found a way to actually empower me in the workplace to ensure that I'm actually happy at my job and doing something that I enjoy, which I really, really appreciate. So it actually worked out very well for me, in that regard.
Yeah. Chantelle?
Well, for me, I studied marketing and I'm still doing marketing. I'm in the advertising industry, so they love all my crazy. They're like, we want injected.
There was really no transition there for you.
Exactly. So I've been fortunate enough to be able. I've been very fortunate to be in an industry and have a job where people actually like, oh, you need to bring some of that you do and bring it to the workplace. So I've been very fortunate. I haven't really had, I think the only time that I tried to hide was when I was in SA and I was doing my internship and I was working at a car rental company. And most of the people I was working with were ancestors and they did not grasp at all what I was doing. So that's when I kind of lived double life. And they all didn't have Instagram, so I never got caught. But but yeah, I've been
All right, so then how do we feel about working with, do you guys ever have a desire to work with other brands?
I've
We're
worked with
looking at like the money, like either okay, I'm not talking about collaboration. Obviously, is a given because you guys do it anyway. I wonder why no one's ever asked me to collaborate anything, but it's okay. But
The king.
other,
King.
I think it also
other stuff.
I think it also goes with perception. Maybe people think, oh, she's so accomplished, she would not want to collaborate with little old me.
Oh,
Or
right, yeah.
brands would be like, we definitely cannot afford to collaborate with her. So maybe that's why. But for me, I've collaborated with a lot of brands and I've worked with a lot of brands. Well, not a lot, but a lot of brands in SA and in Zim. And I feel like Zimbabwe has so much potential. I think people are now waking up and realizing that they cannot make a jingle out
Jingle.
They cannot what?
they cannot make a jingle out of everything. Like they cannot market their products using a jingle and skits.
Oh, and you're working in advertising, so you know. You've seen it.
Lord, yeah. So I'm loving the fact that people are moving, like brands and companies are moving away from that. Oh, we need this as a song, or we need to convert this popular song into something that people relate to our brand, and people are realizing we need people who actually have target market that we're trying to reach. And as someone who's working in the advertising industry, I definitely have to say I am fighting, shouting for people to use influencers every single day, and I'm trying to do my part so that every creative can eat. So I'm excited because it seems as if and especially with COVID happening, a lot of brands have moved digital because that was the only way they could get their
choice. Yeah.
across. Yes, and they've now been asking, we cannot keep doing jingles, we cannot keep going on radio. What else can we do? I'm like, well, influencer marketing. So I'm excited about that. I feel like brands in Zimbabwe are finally opening up to working with influencers and content creators, and exciting times ahead. Hey, exciting times.